White pawn marches to e4. Black pawn marches to g6. White pawn marches to d4. Black bishop marches to g7. White knight marches to c3. Black pawn marches to a6. White bishop marches to e3. Black pawn marches to b5. White queen marches to d2. Black bishop marches to b7. White pawn marches to f3. Black pawn marches to d6. White queenside castling. Black knight marches to d7. White pawn marches to h4. Black pawn marches to h5. White king moves sideways to b1. Black pawn marches to e6. White knight marches to h3. Black knight marches to b6. White knight marches to g5. Black knight marches to f6. White bishop marches to d3. Black knight retreats to d7. White knight retreats to e2. Black queen marches to e7. White knight marches to f4. Black pawn marches to e5. White pawn captures pawn at e5. Black pawn captures pawn at e5. White knight marches to d5. Black knight captures knight at d5. White pawn captures knight at d5. Black knight marches to f6. White bishop marches to e4. Black rook moves sideways to d8. White queen marches to c3. Black knight captures pawn at d5. White bishop captures knight at d5. Black bishop captures bishop at d5. White bishop marches to c5. Black queen moves sideways to d7. White bishop retreats to a3. Black pawn marches to f6. White knight retreats to e4. Black queen marches to c6. White queen marches to b4. Black bishop retreats to f8. White queen marches to a5. Black bishop captures bishop at a3. White queen captures bishop at a3. Black king marches to f7. White knight marches to c5. Black rook marches to d6. White pawn marches to b3. Black rook moves sideways to d8. White rook moves sideways to e1. Black bishop captures pawn at f3. White rook captures rook at d6. Black pawn captures rook at d6. White knight captures pawn at a6. Black bishop captures pawn at g2. White knight retreats to b4. Black queen marches to c5. White rook marches to e2. Black bishop retreats to f3. White rook moves sideways to d2. Black rook moves sideways to a8. White resigns and black wins the game.